Hi, we're live. Hey everyone, good morning. So we are
Hi,
here, Jordan
everybody.
Ostroff and I.
And so we're here to talk about the EA training program that we've been running for the last 6 weeks. We'll have the second round starting next month. And so I think we just kind of wanted to dive into some of the overview stuff for anybody on the fence about the program.
Okay, so first of all, we start this training by showing your executive assistants about their role. Like, we want them to understand why they were hired. So I think from the previous group, that was like a big, oh, you're right. You're right. Like, I can do so much more than what I was hired for. So I think by them understanding, okay, my executive is wearing 10 hats, probably I can help them with 3. What do you say, Jordan?
Oh, completely. And the reality is, like, from the business owner standpoint, bringing on the help that you need also takes time in training and onboarding and figuring those things out. So I think by addressing it this way, we're helping them understand what you're doing and also helping give them somebody else to ask questions from who aren't, you. So all the training doesn't have to go back on you as the owner.
Another big topic that they loved was the 6 levels of delegation, which we go over with them as well. And we say from the beginning, you don't have to memorize the levels, and you don't expect your executive to be like, I am assigning you this task is level 3. It just helps them to understand why they are being asked to do and why.
Yeah, and so by diving into this training with them, when you are giving them, is it just fill out this form? Is it book me for this event and have time to make sure I'm prepared for it? Is it make sure this thing gets done and sent to the judge by whatever date? By going through those things, it really helps them understand what you're truly telling them to do because every task isn't necessarily one task, it's some sort of a whole project. And this helps them figure out, are they given the whole project? Are they given one part of it? Do they have a checkpoint with you? Those kind of things.
Exactly. And after that, we move over to a big one, which is conquering the email chaos. This is like a big thing for business owners where they're like, I don't want to manage my email anymore. I spend a lot of time in my email, and I wish there was a way to streamline everything. So that's where we come in.
Well, it's interesting. So, like, if you look at it from a historical perspective, like way back in the day, it was just like, don't die, don't get killed by this woolly mammoth. And then obviously, the technological revolution, the industrial revolution, those things really grew into these more organization type businesses that we see today. But for the longest time, everybody had a secretary or multiple secretaries. And then as things went digital, we went away from those things. And now things have been back to being so complicated. The amount of tasks that are pushed onto you, picking out your own groceries, checking in on the airplane, booking all these travel. These things used to be done by the company or some other job. And so by putting together this assistant position, it frees up your time on so many of these, mundane, consistent administrative tasks and allows you to really focus on what you do best, whether that's marketing for the firm, whether that's, billing at $400 to $700 an hour, whether that's managing the rest of the staff to get work done, whether that's culture building, those things. We're taking you out of a lot of these simple email tasks, but like they add up when you're getting 150 emails a day.
Yes, exactly. Um, and then I think it's just to, like, even if you don't delegate your email completely, your EA can help you build out those systems. Like, you can be like, okay, you're going to be doing ABC tasks, and I'm going to be doing DEF. And that will also free up your time. Like if you have a solid system for your email, it will be 100% game changer.
Yeah, and look, it may be any email that has anything to do with a case or comes from a client goes to me as the business owner. That's totally fine. But in between all of those, all the emails that are, hey, I'm trying to sell you the top spot on this lead over here, or hey, you got to fill out this form for the state for your business license, or three, can you want to come on a podcast and talk about this, or there's all these other emails that aren't case related. Even if they just handle those, that might be 75, 80% of your email. And now you can free up, 10, 20, 30 minutes a day to actually deal with the casework ones, to actually deal with the stuff from opposing counsel and from clients and whatnot, because you're not stuck on those other emails that are not important but potentially urgent.
Okay, before I move forward with the agenda, one thing that I want y'all to know is that what's different from this training is that you get my perspective as an executive assistant, and you get the perspective of Jordan as a business owner. So that has also been like, wow, now I know why they want me to write an email this way, or now I know why they want me to file this thing this way, because Jordan is giving them the why. Like, it's not just because my executive wants it this way, it's because it has a purpose.
And this training is backed by a private Facebook group for the assistants. And so we've had situations where, let's say your firm's moving to Clio, we might be able to have your assistant talk to somebody else whose firm is already there, or when it comes to software changes, or there's questions posed in there that get answered and we get a different perspective from other assistants as well as Marcela and myself, instead of all of that coming back to you. Like, that's the issue I think so many law firm owners get stuck in. I want to hire this person, I need to, but I don't have the time to then train them. So we're taking that off your plate and we're giving them some other people to answer their questions or get some other perspective on how to handle different situations, instead of all these things having to come back to you and then turning you back into the bottleneck.
Correct. And then another big topic that we cover is calendaring. Basically, it's calendaring mastery. From scheduling, we give them a very brief outtake on, like, we're big proponents on scheduling apps. We're big, like Calendly and Acuity. But we also give them, okay, so the components of a good meeting. What do I need? What do I need for a good invitation? Like, is it going to be a good subject, the email, an agenda, a brief agenda? So everything seems so, oh, that's just common sense. But believe me, when we're on the training, they're like, oh, you're right. It's not common sense.
Yeah, and look, we all fall back on that knowledge is power saying, but ultimately, like, the original saying is knowledge with action is power. And so this is where we transition from, the random tasks that show up in email, the other things you get assigned, into actually getting them done on a calendar. Whether that's knowing that, anytime you have a hearing coming up, they need to prep you for, half an hour to review things, an hour beforehand. Whether that's you've got a speak engagement coming up, you need to make sure the stuff's ready to go. Like, a lot of this, the calendaring is transitioning from the work existing to it getting done by finding time for it, by attaching everything you need to the calendar, all those things, in a way that should make you way more productive and way more able to stay on task.
And one thing that we do, I want to say like 90% of the sessions, is that we give them real life scenarios from things that have happened to me as an EA, from things that I have seen in my life as, I don't know, my working life. So every time I share these mistakes or these scenarios, they're like, that could have happened to me. I wasn't thinking about this. Like, for example, the importance of taking into consideration time zones seems so trivial, but believe me, they're like so game changer. Like, it can save you 3 back and forth emails about times.
Yeah, completely. I mean, and the great part is, by doing this as group training, you come to realize how many of these scenarios are showing up day to day for your assistant as well as everybody else's. And so it's really interesting because obviously we've got perspective, we've got my perspective, but even from some of the other people in the group, oh, this is how we handle that. Oh, we like Calendly better for this thing. Oh, we like Acuity better for that. Oh, this is something that we got stuck on at our office, and this is the solution we found. It's been really cool to really create this community of assistants who can get assistance from each other. I mean, I guess that's the pun sort of intended in that situation. And
Yes.
again, not all of it has to go back to you as the business owner. And really, because the whole point of this is allowing you to focus on the things that are super important, to focus on the things that really do move the needle, to focus on the actual legal work, or whatever it is that your position really needs to be for your firm or your business to be successful going forward.
Another big thing that we teach them is time blocking. It's time blocking for the executive, time blocking for them. We show them how to build your perfect or your ideal week, but we also show them how to build their ideal week, because they will be managing their time. In order to manage your time, they need to manage their time as well. So we give them like the concepts of the Eisenhower matrix. This is how you're going to prioritize your tasks. This is what's going to be important for you, but you also have to take into consideration what will be important for your executive.
And meeting agendas, because ultimately, like, the communication between you and them becomes huge. So whether that's a once a week meeting that looks like this, whether that's a once a day meeting that looks like this, whether it's a once a month meeting that covers these things, training them on those allows them to put these agendas together, allows them to show prepared for these meetings, to make sure that you are on track, to make sure they are on track, to make sure the two of you can communicate together, instead of getting stuck in all these email back and forths where the needle isn't moved enough and it comes back to you and you're stuck in court and this thing gets lost and this deadline gets missed, and whatever along those lines.
Exactly. Another big one that we gave them was an intro on how to write their SOPs. We tell them when they go into the training, you will have access to our executive assistant manual. But one thing that I told them was this manual is built from the business owner's perspective. So this is going to be your limitations. This is going to be how you're expecting to do things. What you have to do is you have to build your own processes within these limits. So if it's going to be one of your tasks is email management, okay, you have to write how are you going to build those email management systems, or how are you going to triage the emails. They will tell you the folders, but you will have to come up with what criteria for you it's easier. What's easy for you might not be easy for the other EA that's in the training. So it will be up to you and your tools and your executive and your company.
Yeah, I mean, so I have the framework of like a 50-page SOP for my assistant that we've chopped up and put through into this program. Obviously, Upleveling Your Business has a ton of stuff as well. So a lot of the stuff is in agreement. Some of the stuff slightly different, and then we explain where some of those differences apply so they can see the right thing that fits with them. But ultimately, like, that allows us to break it down for them really simply. It allows them to be empowered to figure out how to do it better, and it prevents you from having to be the one who constantly has to go back and say, oh, with email A, do this on it. With email B, do that. We've got a framework where you can hit a lot of those most common ones once, or they can know what to do based upon what we're saying, or know what to ask you to do on the most common types of emails. So again, we're really trying to help really your assistant learn from our experiences as well as the whole group's experiences, instead of it just being focused on that one interaction with you and your email here and there.
And one thing that has been helpful from group one is that we actually troubleshoot. We help them troubleshoot their issues, whatever issues they're facing during the sessions. Is it from my clients not answering me, or I need help prioritizing these tasks, or I need your help writing this email? We help them during the training, but that's also what the Facebook group is for.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, this is not a 24-hour-a-day job, but there are constantly things that come up. there's a question on this email, there's a law change over here, your state changes how you have to do a certain filing to have a business, whatever it is. So by having this together, it's giving them more opportunity to get those questions answered and get them answered faster than just making sure your schedule and their schedule line up. And a lot of it, like that's where so much of this happens, right? Because you're busy, you're doing a ton of stuff, you're giving them, 5 tasks a day, 10 tasks a day, 15 tasks a day. And when they hit some of those bottlenecks, if you're in court on a full day trial, you're not hearing that response, or you're not able to give them the answer to take that next step until the next day. And then, things take longer and longer. So this gives them some other channels for that. And then it ties back into getting it into the SOP so that when that situation happens again, everybody's good to go.
Yes. So what do you say, Jordan? Should we invite them to our kickoff session, live kickoff session?
Yeah, totally. So so it's interesting. The first time we did this over 6 weeks so that we could have more time with the group to get feedback and dive into these things. Now we've got it really dialed into a 1 month starting training. And then just because of random chance, Gregorian calendar, whatever it is, we're going to do an extra session on Friday, open to everybody, you as the executive and your assistant. So if you're on the fence, we've got that on Friday. We'll go back into a little bit of the overview with some more specificity. We'll answer any of your questions, and then the full thing will start on Monday, March 4th. Monday, March 4th. So that way they'll have 8 lessons in there, plus the group. There's also going to be ongoing training as we continue to grow that Facebook group and grow the number of assistants in there so that we can go back into some of these topics. We can give them changes. I know some of the biggest things have been like AI. So we're trying to stay on top of them about how to use AI to write better emails without also violating confidentiality and whatnot, or creating fake cases, as all of my lawyer friends know. We're all still learning that as a community, so we're passing that information on from there, and some other things that are a little bit more timely, while having that really core 8 lessons, getting the foundation of all this.
Yes. Please, this is really like, we have really cool testimonials from the business owners where they're like, thank you so much, this has been so helpful, not just for my EA, but for me, because I know what I want them to do, but I feel like they have been empowered enough to write the SOPs, teach me, because sometimes business owners, you don't have to know everything. So they teach them how to do it, and they feel comfortable enough to let the other team members do it as well. And also we have heard from other EAs that have been like, I didn't know I needed this. When I came into this training, I thought I was doing a great job, but this training is not because I'm not doing a great job. It's because I can do a better job. I can help my executives better. Not that I wasn't doing it, but I can improve.
Like you as the business owner, you go to that great conference and you come back with a million ideas, and then you start divvying out who's going to do them. This is that version for your assistant. This is if you're good to go and you're in, you don't have to show up to Friday's meeting. If you're on the fence, show up, but that's the only meeting you're going to be able to come to. The rest of it, we really want to focus on the assistant so that they can come back to the team with these ideas. They can propose this SOP change. They know how to respond to these emails better. They know how to handle the system better than beforehand, better than without any training, better than just between the two of you going through it and kind of muddling your way through. So Friday gives you the opportunity to kind of see how this program breaks out if you're interested in answering any questions. But after that, we have no expectation of your time. We want to make sure your time is better by getting your assistant to a higher level and more organized and more put together and more proceduralized, whatever the word is there.
Okay, so should we wrap it up? Please come to the session. It will be game changer for you, for your executive assistant. If you don't have an executive assistant, go get one and let us train your EA.
So that's going to be Friday, March 1st at, is it 10:30 or 11 Eastern?
It's sorry.
No problem.
It's 10 East. Sorry, I had to go to the calendar. Let me, Friday, March 1st, 10 a.m. Let me show it.
Okay.
There you go. The Zoom link is already in the comments, but we'll post it again so that you can join our session.
So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below here. We'll answer them. And then also feel free to show up on Friday. But again, that's going to be your only opportunity as the business owner to be part of this training, because we don't want to burden you with this. We want to empower you and empower your assistant to not need so much of your time. So that's why we have this lined up. And then the training will start on Monday the 4th.
And I just wanted to add something else. I met with a client yesterday and I said, okay, this training will help you with the onboarding as well. Because if you come to the session and you see what's on the agenda, and if you don't have an onboarding plan, this will help you get a framework of what you can put into your onboarding, and we can complete your onboarding with this training.
Yeah, there's a ton of value for new assistants. There's a ton of value for more experienced assistants, because a lot of it might be confirming what they did was correct. It might be that one extra little tweak that's going to make things go better. Just as much as for somebody with nothing, it's going to be this entire foundation of email management and scheduling and doing the administrative tasks and delegating stuff to other team members, as well as getting stuff delegated to them. It's a really cool program that we put together. Huge thank you to Marcela for having knowing it from the EA perspective, and then obviously for me as the business owner perspective. So they're getting both views in a way that we're trying to maximize the effectiveness of all of this training. Ultimately we want to maximize their time and maximize your time at the same time.
So thank you so much for joining us in this live session. I hope we see you Friday. If not, you can DM us, DM Jordan, DM Kristen, DM Uplevel Your Facebook, emails. We are checking everything. Okay, so thank you.
We'll see you all soon.